turn that on, and hopefully that works now. Is that working? Yes, it is. Good stuff. I like that very much. So, Apple Pencil, where be you? Let's go here. Let's turn this down. God, what a palaver. What a palaver. Good. So, let's now do that. And go from here. Wow. Crikey. Let's blow that off. Where's the Apple Pencil? There we go. Good. We are ready to rock. That looks like a much better picture, actually. God, it's amazing how good the iPhone camera is. Beautiful. Shall we make the comments pop out? Let's do those. And let's move them over here. Open them up. So hopefully I can see quite a few there. That's good. I don't need to see that. Oh, so there we go. Oh, I'm really hot. Hot after the gym. But there you go. That's what the deal is, isn't it? Hot after the gym. And blocking the diary out so we can watch the budget tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see, to say the least. We have to wait and see what the outcome is. Oh, but yeah, we will see. See what wonders they're going to. I really feel as a sort of small business owner, I'm going to get absolutely destroyed from the tax perspective. But what can you do? What can you do? You've got no say in it, clearly. But there might be some good news from a stamp duty perspective, because there are rumours circulating that the thresholds might actually be maintained, which means if you're looking to buy a property, you no longer got the time pressure to meet the stamp duty changes. So that's good news. So yeah. Hopefully that will be good news. So keep an eye on the budget tomorrow. Well, you don't have to. I mean, you've probably got much more important and interesting things to be doing. But I'll certainly be watching it and keep an eye on everything that's going to happen there. So yeah, I will then obviously, if anything of interest comes out, you can of course count on me to put it in video format for you. So make sure you are following, because you don't want to miss out on any of that luscious content. So yeah, do feel free to ask any questions you wish, and I will do my best to answer them. Also, if you just want to watch, it would be very much appreciated if you could tap the likes, because then that gets us in front of more people. Yeah, you see, Dylan. Okay, so I'm just using my iPhone now. I did have a funky webcam. I had this, but it's going back because I didn't think the quality was that good. It's meant to be 4K. But yeah, stuck with the iPhone again, and it's absolutely fine. Looks all right. But yeah, if you can hit the likes, that'd be very much appreciated. How many statements do lenders look at? So bank statements, we're looking at 3. Just had my mortgage approved. How long does it take to completion? That's the tricky one, because it's in the hands of the solicitors, unfortunately. So they'll be the best people to ask for it. But you could be looking at, I don't know, anything from 6 to 12 weeks. Really difficult to say, though, I'm afraid. Just denied a mortgage for a 3-bedroom detached due to my age and short credit history. Who was that? Which lender did that go to? Different question. Would it be possible to rent a property with a guarantor at the age of 17 years old? I'm a mortgage advisor. I'm not. That would depend on a estate agent and what they want to do. What the chance of becoming a homeowner? Tanzila, I don't know. Did you do that application yourself? Who did you go with? If you did. But age, how old are you? Credit history, are there issues on it? I'd need to fully assess it before I could tell you whether you can or not. But if you use a broker, we've obviously got access to the whole of the market. So we've got a range of lenders that we could possibly go through. It was through Nationwide, but I have deposit and sufficient income. Okay, but each lender has individual criteria. So if you've got something odd in your credit history, Nationwide aren't going to be the best home for it. Get in touch, because it sounds to me like you need to use a broker. Well, I mean, everyone should use a broker, obviously. But yeah, get in touch, because your circumstances need matching with the most appropriate lender. You just can't apply to anyone. It would need to be properly looked at. Really appreciate those likes. Thank you very much. Keep them coming. I'm going to change the colour of these lights because they're not very flattering. Let's go with a bit. That's a bit better. There we go. Like that. Are 5% mortgages making a comeback now? They're very, very popular, because, of course, people then haven't got to save for a full 10%, which is quite a chunk of money. There's quite a few lenders that offer them. So, yeah, from that perspective, they are proving quite popular. What kind of mortgage do I need if buying siblings' share of estate? So you would just need a normal mortgage. What's the mortgage rate at the moment? There's absolutely thousands of them. It depends on many different variables, such as your loan to value, your credit history, type of mortgage, whether you're fixing for 2, 5, 7, 10, 40 years, or whether you're looking at trackers or something else. So I can't tell you, I'm afraid. My brother gets paid via CIS and is struggling to get lenders to offer him decent amounts. Why is that? I mean, with CIS, they all vary as to how many statements they need from him. But use a broker. Always use a broker. Would I get 5% deposit mortgage at 42? Yeah, quite feasibly. On the face of it, I'd say you can. Obviously, there are more implications that we have to look at behind the scenes. But yeah, I'd say so. Is a fixed rate better? Better than a tracker or a variable? Very much depends on your circumstances. Do you have disposable income available should rates go up if you're on a variable? Would you be able to afford an increase in rate? Do you want certainty of rate and therefore payment? So these are the kind of things we explore with our clients to then come up with the advice as to what's going to suit them best. Are interest rates increasing in this budget? Well, the budget doesn't dictate rates. It's how the market reacts to the budget. That's why we've been seeing some increases prior to the budget, because the markets have, they don't like uncertainty, and there is a bit of uncertainty at the moment as to what's going to happen in the budget. So therefore, they've put rates up a little bit. Self-employed, need to remortgage in May. Will I need to provide proof of earnings again? If you're going to remortgage to a new lender, yes, you will. Selling my property, buyer has got their mortgage offer through and paid for checks. How long until completion? Grant, it's how long's a piece of string, unfortunately. That would be a good one to ask your solicitors, because they'll be more involved in the case, and they'll be able to gauge how sort of responses the other side's solicitors are. It's over to the conveyancers at the moment. That's pretty much where you're at. So you could be looking at, I don't know, 6 to 12 weeks possibly. I only have 2 months left and my Help to Buy ISA is full. When can I start mortgage application? You've only got 2 months left of what? The year? You can start mortgage application anytime you want. Is cross-border mortgage complicated now with Brexit? We don't do cross-border mortgages. You'd have to have someone who's very specialist to do that. Yeah, you'd need a very specialist. And probably Brexit has probably screwed it as well. Property is with solicitors, so all bank stuff has been approved. Can I begin to finance furniture? Absolutely not. No. Do not do anything regards to finance, buying on credit cards, changing jobs, until your mortgage is actually completed, until you've got the keys to your property and you moved in. Mortgage with a CCJ? Yep, on the face of it, it's possible. What's a RICS level 3 survey? So there's 3 levels of survey. One is a basic valuation. Level 2 will suffice for most purchases. Level 3 is in greater detail. So probably very apt if it's a listed building, a very, very old building. Maybe they've had extensive renovations and extensions and all that kind of thing. That's where you might be wanting to look at a level 3 survey, but generally level 2 is deemed sufficient. Of course, it's for you. You're the one that's getting the survey done, so it's for your peace of mind. The more you spend, the more in-depth the survey generally. Do I need 1 month employment history or 3 months for mortgages? Varies on lenders. Some lenders will be happy to do it off a signed employment contract as long as you're going to be starting that job in the next 30 days or so. So yeah, if you want maximum choice of lenders, you're going to be looking for 3 months or more. Had a pay rise mid-mortgage application and could do with the extra affordability. Back to the start? Not necessarily back to the start. It will go back to the affordability assessment stage to then see, who will lend you what the most, who will lend you what you need. But yeah, your broker will know the situation of you and your application, so it's just a case of tweaking the numbers involved in it. Is it better to pay off my buy-to-let or invest in more properties? I'm not a financial advisor, I'm afraid, so I'm not able to give you that information. For a telephone conversation to find out if eligible for mortgage, will I have to pay? If so, how much? Not with us, you won't. Nope. The only time we ever charge our fee is when we get you a formal mortgage offer. So everything up to that, all the advice, all the discussions, then no, we don't charge. Can I change my deposit? Am I always adding to my LISA amount? Depends what point you're at. If you've had a mortgage offer, then it's not going to cause problems. You just have to go back and rejig the numbers and then go through to get it underwritten and get an offer again. If you're still to firm up the application numbers, then yeah, you can. When do I contact Sister? Before putting in an offer or after the offer's been accepted? After the offer's been accepted, generally. Stupid question. There's no stupid question. Will Labour rise in tax of businesses affect mortgage rates too? Again, it comes down to the market's general reaction, which will dictate the impact on fixed rates. Will increased taxes on businesses do that? I don't think so. I'm very fearful because I'm considered not a working person because I own my business, so I'm going to get taxed to absolute kingdom come. Is it best to get a no-win, no-fee solicitor? That's not relevant. That's totally something different. You need a conveyancing solicitor and they will all charge. Things to look for when getting a solicitor. Don't use the one recommended by the estate agent. Everything else, they need to be on the panel of the lenders. So you need to make sure you're using... So generally, if you use one that the broker deals with, then that's going to be good enough. Are you more likely to be approved for a mortgage if the additional deposit is bigger? Potentially, yes, because if you're having to borrow less, then your chances increase because it all comes down to affordability, how much you can actually afford to borrow. So the bigger the deposit, the less you're going to have to borrow. So the likelihood is you're going to be able to afford that. So the likelihood is you should be approved. In very simplistic terms, of course, there can be other things behind the scenes, such as credit files, credit history, that kind of stuff, which might affect it. What's the easiest way to take equity from a property? But none of them are particularly easy. They're just different routes, different processes. So you could do additional borrowing. You could do a full remortgage and borrow the extra. You could sell and take the equity out of there. Is it better to get a mortgage any particular month? No, not really. The mortgage market changes from week to week, month to month, so there's no real benefits to any particular month. You messaged me on here. Not got it. Best to book in a call. Send us your name, number and email address and someone will get in touch. Current rates on buy-to-let property purchased through a company. There's absolutely loads of them. It depends on so many variables. Loans to value, type of products, all that kind of stuff. Andrew, good afternoon. Good afternoon indeed. Is it true that once you're married and one partner already has a property, then the other partner loses their first-time buyer status? Yes. I'm good, Andrew. How are you? Lose their first-time buyer discount. There is no discount for first-time buyers. The only real benefit at the moment for first-time buyers is the difference in threshold for stamp duty. Do you have to wait for proof of income? What? Do you have to wait 3 months proof of income first? to apply for a mortgage, no, there are lenders who will do it off a signed employment contract. If you want the best choice of lenders, then yeah, you're going to be looking for 3 months pay slips. Say there's something else that makes the application complex, which means you need a greater choice of lenders, then you're going to need that. Where can I find freehold properties? Why is it so hard? It's not. There's loads of them. If I was in a position to overpay my mortgage, would you recommend? I love overpayments. Overpayments are great because when you make an overpayment, it actually comes off the capital balance of the loan. You're not paying off interest, you're paying off the actual balance. And mortgage interest is pretty much calculated on a daily basis. So if you make an overpayment today, the balance on which interest is charged tomorrow is less. Therefore, less interest. You save yourself a huge amount of interest and potentially be able to bring it down, the term of the mortgage down. Go and have a look at Money Saving Expert mortgage overpayment calculator. Put in your normal committed payment amount, then just put in an overpayment of £100 a month and look at the difference. It's incredible. Can I get a mortgage to buy my mum's house, but only me on the mortgage? If you've got good affordability, yeah, you should be able to. So good salary, able to afford what you need to borrow, yeah. Can I remortgage, move after shortly becoming self-employed? Not shortly after. You're going to need at least 12 months self-employed to be able to do that. 2 years better. Do first-time buyers get better interest rates? Not generally. I mean, first-time buyers are generally looking at sort of 90%, 95% loan to value mortgages, and that's the higher end of the interest rates, higher end in the market. So generally not. There are specific products designed for first time buyers, but other than that, there's nothing really. Does having a lower loan to value help when remortgaging? Chances are it will get you the better rates. So generally, the lower the loan to value, the better the interest rates. And then it just comes down to affordability. Can you get a mortgage if you have 12k of debt, which has been paid comfortably each month? In theory, yes. On the face of that, yes. It's all relative. If you've got a big salary, that's going to easily offset the debt. What it will affect is just your affordability and how much you're going to be able to borrow. So it all just needs to be assessed. How come you would avoid the estate agent recommend a solicitor? Because they're always far too expensive. And there's massive backhanders involved. I don't trust estate agents, quite frankly, being honest. Are there upper age limits on obtaining a mortgage? Not really upper age. There are, but they're pretty high. What will largely dictate it is viable income. So if you want to borrow into retirement, you're going to have some form of income that will allow you to do that. Now, you'll have state pension, but then ideally you'll have a private pension, maybe even some buy-to-let income. All that kind of stuff will allow you to borrow into older ages. Had an arrangement to pay with credit company 3 years ago. Will I be able to get a mortgage? Probably would need to be assessed. You need to go through a broker who's got access to the whole of the market, so all lenders, so that your situation can be matched accordingly. But yeah, it just depends on the credit file, the credit histories. We need to look at that. Was lowest than when next door solved lot. Don't understand what that means. When would you recommend getting a home buyer survey completed? I have a mortgage approved. Okay, so you've had the offer approved. You've had the mortgage offered. Do it now. You need to get it done before exchange of contracts, because if anything shows up in that survey and you want to walk away from the sale, if you've exchanged contracts, you can't. So get it done before exchange of contracts. And then, yeah, then you can walk away if anything dodgy comes up. You can also renegotiate the price. Say something massive comes up, like the roof needs redoing, then you can negotiate the price and go there. If you exchange contracts, it's too late to do it. What level of survey to get done? Depends on how much detail you want. Depends on the property. So level 2 generally suffices. But if it's a very, very, very old property, if it's listed, if it's had extensive renovations, extensions, that kind of stuff, then you might want to look at level 3. The more you pay, the more detail you get. Can I get a 30-year mortgage? I'm 43. If you've got income, if you're employed, then yeah, in theory. Does debt mean I won't get a mortgage? No, not necessarily. Even though it's paid. No, people get mortgages with credit card debts, loans, car finance. People even can get mortgages with their own debt management plans if they've got CCJs, if they've got defaults. So don't let it put you off. Get in touch with the broker and get it assessed to get the accurate response, because it's all down to what's showing on your credit history. I'm 41, just got off a 35-year term. There you go. There you go. What's the best 5-year fixed rate when you have a very good loan to value? I can't tell you because I don't know your full situation. For a 41,500 mortgage and 42, how many years would you recommend? I can't give advice. Can't give advice on TikTok. I need to know you as a client. If you have lots of defaults, how bad is it? Again, it comes down to what the credit history looks like, what the credit file looks like. Get your Check My File report. There's a link in my TikTok bio so you can get a free one. And as a broker, we would assess that and then see what's viable. Compare that with the criteria of lenders that we've got access to, all the lenders, because there are lenders who are geared up to work with credit adverse clients. So we can match your credit file essentially with the criteria of many different lenders and go from there. You're certainly not looking at the high street lenders, but there will be ones out there who will accommodate it. Would you lock 5-year right now or wait a week or two? If you're waiting a week or two, you might face higher rates. Fix a rate now and your broker can change it if they go down, but you also protect yourself if they increase. I can't comment on whether I do a 5-year or not because my situation is very different to what yours will be. So everyone's situation is individual. So it comes down to that. If you have poor credit history previously, can I get a mortgage? Depends how long ago it was and depends what it was. We need specifics when it comes to credit history. Can I buy a house if you're paying student loans? Yes, you can. It just comes down to affordability. If you had £400,000 worth of equity, would you release some of it to do buy-to-let? Personally, no, I wouldn't want to be a landlord. That's the only opinion I can give, I'm afraid. Not a IFA, not a financial advisor. You would need to get tax advice on that as well, about the best way to do it. But personally, I wouldn't want to be a landlord. Crikey. The hassle that brings. I could really do without it. I have a CCJ satisfied. Is it going to affect it? It will affect it, but we have access to lenders who will accommodate it. Would you recommend using government help to buy deposit or just wait and save? Well, you actually can't get government help to buy deposit anymore. You can't open those accounts. So they are closed. Are Nationwide putting down the rates of purchases at 95%? No, they're putting them up. The rates went up again. Some lenders are putting them up, some lenders are putting them down. So TSB emailed this morning to say they're going down. Can you get a mortgage on 23 hours a week? Yeah. It just depends how much you earn. It's not the hours you work, it's how much you're paid. And then it's a multiplication of that salary. What are your thoughts on paying off early? Paying off your mortgage early? Crikey, isn't that the dream? Isn't being mortgage free the dream? Apologies, I've got hiccups, which isn't helping on a live. I'm trying to answer questions, but also get them gone. Do excuse me if I'm like, but yeah, I'm trying my best. What's the difference between equity release and further advance? Well, you can't do true equity release unless you're 55 and over. Additional borrowing is what it would be termed if you're under 55. How quickly can be done the whole process? There's a lot of variables that go into it. I mean, the conveyancing side of things is what takes the most amount of time. The mortgage, we can do it within 2 weeks quite easily. It depends on your speed of response. So how quickly you get the documents back to us, how quickly you can fill out our systems. But we could pretty much get it done in 2 weeks. But then it's the conveyancing side of things that takes the time. Can I get a mortgage at 44 years old? Yes, you can. How long do I have to be in a job before applying for a mortgage? Some lenders will do it on a signed employment contract before you started. So it's a whole range. Signed employment contract, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. Some will be a bit iffy if you're in a probation period. So it's all just a case of matching up the situation with the most appropriate lender. What's the best lender to go with? There isn't a broad brush one that size fits all, I'm afraid. Very much situation dependent. Say, for example, you've got credit issues, then that instantly rules out many of the high street lenders. So there is not one size best. The best lender is the best lender for your situation and circumstances. Minimum credit score needed for a mortgage. There's no such thing. Credit score is irrelevant when it comes to a mortgage. What we want to know is the content of your credit history. So the content of your credit file. Get a free Check My File report using the link in my bio, and that will show you everything you need to know. 23 hours a week minimum wage. So yeah, it's just going to be a multiplication of your minimum wage and whether that is enough, whether you can borrow enough. When porting a mortgage, why does it all happen in one day? Because you can't have a mortgage on 2 properties at the same time. So it has to move from one to the other on the same day. How many years can you get to pay mortgage if you're in your 20s? You can get a 40-year term if you want. You will pay a lot of interest though. So that's something to bear in mind. But the benefit of having a longer term will be that you can keep the initial monthly payments down. Now, you don't have to stick to the whole 40 years. So if you take out a 40-year term mortgage, at remortgage stage, you can bring that down if you want. So it's certainly a strategy that we talk about with our clients as to, do you want the most minimal monthly payment to start with? You get onto the housing ladder with the idea of maybe overpaying to then bring the term down in the future. It's certainly a viable discussion to have, and certainly one we do have quite often. If I'm being gifted money towards my deposit, when do I need to declare this? Right from the start, because you will need to provide letters or forms to say that it is a gift. You'll also need the gifter to provide their bank statements to show where the money's come from. Opinion on where rates will be in the next 12 months. Crikey. Oh, God, that's a tricky one. That really is tricky. Mid 3s to mid 4s, depending on your loan to value. Remortgaging soon. Self-employed, off work, sick for a year. Will I struggle? It will. If you're self-employed, it will go off the figures that are shown in your accounts. Have you seen the market slow down ahead of the budget? The trouble is, we've got a few variables at the moment. We've had a few people getting in touch because they want to quickly get through a house purchase before the stamp duty thresholds change next year. You then have the general slowdown towards the end of the year, which has been a little bit offset by the people wanting to buy sooner. You've then got a new government with a new budget coming in, rates creeping up slightly. So all these things go into the mix to make it... No 2 years are the same. They're always very different. When you overpay each month, does it make a difference the date I overpay? No, not really, because mortgage interest is quite often calculated on a daily basis. Can we change products with the same provider after contract exchange but for completion? Yes, you can, as long as it's not within sort of like 2 weeks of completion, because it takes about 10 working days to actually draw down the money from the lender. So once that process has started, you can't change the product. But prior to that, then yeah. Is the right to buy scheme being abolished? Don't know. We'll have to wait and see what comes out tomorrow. It's going to be a big day tomorrow. The right to buy scheme isn't necessarily bad. What the problem is, it's got out of control. A lot of people have bought them and then changed them into buy-to-lets. The housing stock that has been sold off has not been replaced. So there's numerous issues with right to buy that need to be addressed. My estate agent recommended a no buy, no fee solicitor. Is this worth finding my own solicitor? Always. Never get anything off the estate agent other than them putting offers forward for the house you want to buy. They're slippery little snakes. Is it harder to transfer the deposit if it comes from a LISA? No. Your solicitor will help you with all of that. Sorry, I'm just stretching my back. I went to the gym this morning. Oh, stretchy. Oh. There's an extra comma showing on my address registered on the electoral roll for Experian issue. Nah, that won't be an issue, Megan. Don't worry about that. No. As long as you're on the electoral roll, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Can I change from a 40-year term to a 25-year term after my 5-year fixed over? Absolutely, yes. Katie, that's exactly what you can do. So if a first-time buyer, you might want to keep repayments to a minimum. So you might have the term as long as possible with the intention to then bring it down at remortgage stage. Absolutely right, Katie. You haven't answered my question as I've asked 3 times. All right, calm down. I haven't seen it. They do. Crikey. God. Wow. God, I just haven't seen it. They go through so quickly. Apologies. What's the best way to pay off a mortgage? Lump sum or overpay each month? Overpaying each month will get you more benefit in terms of the interest charged. So you'll pay less interest if you do it more regularly rather than lump sum. Just make sure you stick within any limits specified by the lender. You gotta play the game. If you go with their recommendation, it works. No, it doesn't. Are the starting deposits negotiable? What do you mean the starting deposits? Can your address be changed over on the mortgage offer? The new property is 5k less. No, you'd have to change the mortgage offer completely because it's a new risk property. So that property will have to be valued. It has to meet the criteria of the lender. So it needs to go back and the address changed on the application to then get a new offer. What the stamp duty changes that someone in the comments said. So from April next year, 1st of April, the thresholds are due to change. At the moment, they're due to change. So currently, the threshold you start paying as a first-time buyer is 425,000. That will reduce to 300,000. For a second-time purchase, the threshold is 225. That's reducing to 125. That's with effect from the 1st of April next year. However, those changes might be held in the budget tomorrow. They might not change them. So we have to wait and see what's in the budget. Do you know if it's still... This is a joke. Can't buy a property in London for under 500k. Now I'll be penalised to withdraw. Okay. Can I book with you again? We've already had a phone. Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. Just send, if anyone wants to book in a call, then just send us an email, hello@mallowfinancial.co.uk, and we can sort that out for you. Someone will get in touch. Or send us a message in the DMs with your name, number, and email address, and someone will get in touch. Or just go through your TikTok bio and use the link in there, and you can book a call straight in. How easy is it to add my partner to my current mortgage? That depends on whether they actually suit the lender's criteria. They have to stack up from an affordability perspective. Also, if they're going on the deeds as well, they're going to be liable for stamp duty. So you need to think about it carefully. Is it difficult to sell a home with leasehold and service charge? Was a new build 11 years ago by Taylor Wimpey. I assume there's going to be quite a lot of lease left on that. It just depends how much the service charge is, but they are sellable. Yep. Do you get many clients who have financial planning needs, ISAs, pensions, etc.? We do, and we have a home for them. The 10k fixed deposit that you need to pay up front when buying a property, is it negotiable? There's not a 10% fixed. You can pay as much deposit as you want. You can also buy from as little as 5%. What's average house price outskirts of London? I don't know. Ask an estate agent on the outskirts of London. When looking for a mortgage broker for a property development, what makes a good one? Someone who's got access to the whole of market. Someone you get on with. Someone you can trust. Someone who works quickly, I suppose. But the most thing is probably the access to the whole of market. How long is the conveyancing process? There's no set time frame on it, I'm afraid. It's it's down to really your solicitor and how long it takes, if there's any issues or anything like that. When you finish your live, can you read my messages on TikTok, please? I'll have a look, but I don't like responding to long messages on TikTok because a lot of stuff can often get lost in translation or lost in reading. So it's always best to book in a call. Is it hard to get a mortgage on a PRC property? PRC property? What are we talking here? Do I know it as something else? PRC property. Non-traditional housing built with precast concrete. Okay, precast concrete. Precast concrete. I wouldn't say it's necessarily difficult. We just got to match that with the most suitable lender, in all honesty. It's going to limit your lender choice, but we'll see. Is porting a mortgage straightforward? It's like a new application. In theory, it sounds straightforward. You're picking it up from one property, moving it over to the next. But it does involve a new application and lots of assessments and affordability and that kind of thing. Can I pay 10% deposit on a new build flat that they've offered deposit unlock? Yeah, you should be able to. How do you know if you had access to the whole of market? You speak to them. Ask them. We do, by the way. We do. So hard to get a mortgage at a good rate when you're about to go into maternity allowance? No, lenders are quite good when it comes to maternity. So it's just a case of getting the best one. But yeah, you shouldn't have a high rate for that. I like to know this too. What's that? Can you buy a house with a 25k annual salary, please? Yes. So what you do is the mortgage borrowing will be a multiplication of your salary. General rule of thumb is it's 4.5 times your salary is what you can borrow. But if you're a first-time buyer, you might be able to get 5.5, sometimes 6 times your salary. So it just depends on your situation. Your borrowing potential is largely based off your income, minus any outgoing. So any committed expenditures like cars on finance, loans, credit cards, child maintenance, school fees, all that kind of stuff. And then that's where we get what you can borrow. You need to get it assessed properly by a mortgage broker, and then you'll get a good indication as to how much you can borrow. How do I buy a house when I'm self-employed? Do I just pay more tax? No, it's got nothing to do with tax. When you're self-employed, we go off your accounts and tax returns. So you need at least 1 year's accounts and tax returns filed with HMRC, and that's what we use to prove your income. If you haven't got 1 year, you have to wait until you do. Even with 1 year, you get a handful of lenders that will do it. If you've got 2 or more years, even better, because you open up a lot more lenders. I want to buy a new property. Is it generally cheaper to transfer my mortgage or sell first? Now, there's reasons why you might want to transfer your existing mortgage, such as if you are already in a fixed term deal. If you port it to the new property, it means you haven't got to break that fixed term deal and pay early repayment charges. You also might want to keep the rate that you're on and move that over. So it just depends on the situation and the costs. It needs to be assessed. What's the best scheme for first time buyers that don't involve part share, part purchasing? There aren't really any schemes, I'm afraid. There are products from lenders, from certain lenders that are designed for first time buyers. So speak to a mortgage broker, send us an email and we can have a chat with you about it and see how they all work. Existing bungalows divided into 2 residents, buying half. Why is lender saying it's new build now? Because it's been converted and split into 2 title deeds and it could well be a new build. Will rates drop before 4% this year? They already have dropped before 4%, below 4% this year. We have rates that start with a 3. I mean, 3.8. So they are. It's for the lowest loan to values out there. So certainly not for your 90 or 95% property purchases. I should have my target deposit sum saved in around 9 months. Should I contact a broker soon? Yeah, so it very much depends on the broker. We wouldn't have a problem with it. You can speak to us. Some brokers might want to see total proof of deposit before they start work on things. But we can use anticipated figures. You have the only point with us is when you have to have it absolutely firmed up is when you're going to offer on a property, because the estate agent will want to see full source of funds. And certainly when we're putting in a mortgage application, we're going to need to see it so we know the numbers that we're going off the application. What's the best credit score to go off? There isn't a best credit score for a mortgage. It's all to do with your credit history. Can you get a mortgage on sick pay but being paid full wage a month? Yeah. Yeah, you can. Waiting for council to say how much I'm getting my house for. Lived there 9 years, 80% discount. Okay, fair enough. So that would be a right to buy purchase. So potentially the discount could count as a deposit. What's the best credit score company to go with? Check My File. You can get a free one using the link in my TikTok bio. Check My File report from TransUnion, Experian and Equifax. And it's the most accurate one. It's the only one we accept. To avoid the new stamp duty charge in March, does the mortgage need to be accepted by then? The whole process needs to be completed by then. And actually, Daisy, keep an eye on the budget tomorrow, because that stamp duty change next year might be scrapped. Mumsy Notebook, potentially. It depends. It's one for the solicitors. 2 questions, please. Is possible to get 100% mortgage, but we debt relief order? No. No point asking me if 872 is a good credit score, because credit scores are quite meaningless. A credit score is just a snapshot of the healthiness of your credit file at that point in time. We look back at the whole credit history for 6 years. So credit score is relevant from that perspective. Can I buy additional property and transfer my current mortgage onto the new one? Yes, so that's called porting. If you're a director but you take PAY salary, you still class as self-employed. If you own over 25% of that business, yes. If childcare costs are due to reduce in 5 months, will lenders accept new amount when applying? No, they want to see it confirmed. Thanks very much. What is the minimum deposit? For what? You can buy a house from as little as 5% deposit. What was that? Debt relief order. If you're in a debt relief order, it's not going to be possible. Can dividends payments be included in mortgage as extra income? So if you're getting paid dividends, so you're self-employed, so we take your salary and dividends in your sort of annual pay, and then that's what we use to work out your affordability. So, yeah. How many payments need to be on time after late payments marks it for late good? You need to rectify it as soon as possible. The fact is, the late payment is recorded on your file and it will sit there for 6 years. So it doesn't matter how many good payments you got after that. As time goes on, it's going to have less and less impact, but the late payments are recorded and will show for 6 years, and therefore it has to go in. When we're looking at lenders, we have to say there was a late payment 12, 24, 36 months ago, and each lender will have a different view on it. Is there much benefit to put down a larger deposit, or is it worth? So generally, the more deposit you put down, the better, because you have to borrow less and you can potentially get a better rate. So the most deposit you can put down, the better, but don't kill yourself in putting down a huge deposit. You're going to need some for fees, possibly stamp duty, surveys, solicitor fees, that kind of stuff. So just keep a bit back for that, but then you may want to, you might need some money for refurbishment or anything like that. So just think about that, but then put down as much as you can for the deposit. If the rates have improved since your mortgage application was approved, how easy is it to switch? Depends on the lender, but get your mortgage broker to do it, because they'll know the best way to do it. We have phone numbers, we have access to people we can call to get things done. Is there a maximum minimum overpayment you can make? Depends on your lender as to the maximum. Some lenders put a 10% cap in a not financial year, a 10% overpayment maximum in a calendar year. So that's 10% of the outstanding balance in a year. Some do 20%. Some put an actual monetary amount on it. So look in your paperwork that you got with your mortgage. So your mortgage illustration, your mortgage offer, and that will tell you. Make sure you have good chunk for furnishing. It will be more expensive than you think. Exactly. Yes. Yes. So, yeah, any improvements, painting, decorating, furniture, carpets, All that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff you need to consider. Right, I'm going to give a shout out for the first time buyer guide that you can get for free through our website. If you would like a free first time buyer's guide ebook, then go to our website, mellowfinancial.co.uk, where you can download it. And it's all free. Something else that's free is there's a link in the TikTok bio where you can get a free Check My File report and see what lenders see on your credit history for the last 6 years. Very valuable stuff. So go and check that out as well. Also in the TikTok bio, you can book a call straight into our diaries and speak to one of us lovely Mellow advisors. There's 2 new Mellow advisors which will be appearing very soon. So that's good news. A lady as well, which I'm really pleased about because you don't want a load of ugly blokes on there. So we've got some ladies coming on as well. What's this lamp and glasses stream? What does that mean? Is 3.97 a decent rate for 5 years? It's a good end, so I suspect you've got a nice loan to value. So yeah, it's certainly the good end of the rates at the moment. I want to do a further advance to pay off debt. What's the best way to go about it? You need to go through your mortgage broker for that, because that's debt consolidation. It needs to be very carefully considered and very carefully advised on. So go through a mortgage broker. Right, what time is it? It's 1:45. We're going to wrap up at 2 o'clock, I think. So make sure you are following, because you won't then... Yeah, we're able to help, absolutely. Spoke to clients yesterday about debt consolidation. So, yeah, we can do that. So, yeah, make sure you are following, and we will no doubt see you again next time I go live. And yeah, if you'd like to get in touch for a call, then there's numerous ways you can do it. You can send us a message with your name, number, and email address, and we will get back to you to book a call in. You can also use the links in the TikTok bio, or go through the website where you can book a call straight into our diaries. We are wondering if the rate could be transferred to a new mortgage if what? We were told to be able to do mortgage. What? Renovated my home a lot and will be remortgaging. Will it help my loan to value and reduce rate? Potentially, yeah. So if you've increased the value of your property, then yes, potentially you might get a better rate. What's the rate for a limited company buy to let? There's so many available. There's lots of variables that go into it as well. 5-year fixed, 2-year fixed. Are you paying fees? What kind of fees? All that kind of stuff. When I'm ready to mortgage, you advise best ways and best lenders. When you're ready to mortgage, you get in touch with the broker, and the best rates and mortgage lender and product will be found for you. Yes. Do you need to give bank statements, etc. for further advance? Yes, it all needs to be assessed. 2-year 5.54 or any good? I don't know. I don't know your circumstances. When's the best time to get a mortgage in principle? Before you go and view properties, because then you know how much you can afford and therefore how much you can offer. How do lenders view consent to let? Everyone is different, and they will also take a view on the conduct of your mortgage account. It depends how long you've had a mortgage with them, how you've behaved in that. Have you been paying on time, all that kind of stuff. Some lenders won't give it at all. It all very much varies and depends what the reasons for the consent to let are. So only they know, I'm afraid. So you'll have to ask them. If they don't give consent to let, you will then have to get a buy-to-let mortgage if you want to rent out the property. Doing it without consent to let or a buy-to-let mortgage would be classed as mortgage fraud, and they can then repossess the property and put fraud markers against your name, which you don't want to happen. So do it right is the big thing. What are red flags on bank statements? Loads of things. Going over an agreed overdraft, using an unarranged overdraft, bounce direct debits, lots of gambling transactions, lots of small transactions which need explaining, big transactions that need explaining, illegal activity, stupid references, your pay not matching what the amount going in, not matching the pay slip. Loads of things we look at on bank statements. I have 18 months left on a fixed rate at 220. Want to port but only need 120. Oh, okay. So yeah, you can port and get your money back essentially. You'll need. You're probably best doing a. I'd need to think about that. One thought comes to my mind, and then another one does. So I need to think about that. Right, it is gone quiet. It has gone quiet. So I'm going to wrap this up. So do get in touch if we can help you out. You can book a call straight into our diaries using the links in the TikTok bio or through the website, mellowfinancial.co.uk, or just send us a message with your name, number and email address, and we can then get in touch with you. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for your questions. And if you're not following, don't forget to, because otherwise you're going to miss out on some of this great